All right, let's bring in Nick, who is inside the Arrowhead press box right now, looking as good as he always does. He was just in the Bears locker room. And let's start with Tyler Scott. Nick, I know you talked to him. I was not expecting to see as much Tyler Scott tonight as we saw. The Bears did end up a little bit limited at the wide receiver position, and I think that sort of explained it. Did that come up with him and in terms of how much he played, and how did he feel about his performance?
Yeah, he was asked about just all the touches that he got, and the first thing he really talked about, you guys, is that you can't replicate game reps and just everything that comes with it. The game day nerves, actually preparing for an opponent. So what he makes of like all these opportunities, like things are just starting to slow down for him. He said like last year he was worried about like where do I line up? And now this time he's not worried about that, but more so like, okay, who's defending me? And now what's the adjustment I have to make based off the coverage? So and I think you saw that just how he's playing. Like here's another game where he catches the ball or he's targeted on a deep pass. Maybe it doesn't work, but he gets a pass interference call. So you're kind of seeing Tyler Scott getting more of these opportunities. And guys like you could tell too on that last play where he got the face mask, like his face was like puffy, a little bit of blood on it. Like he got hit in the middle of the field earlier in the game too. So like he had some big like tough hits in this game, but kept on coming, kept every opportunity. He was open for it. So it was good to see for him. He was also asked about like the deep reception he did have. And he knew that going into this game, the Chiefs like to play a lot of press man. Again, the preparation, the film work, he knew that was going to happen. He knew Brett Ripper was going to throw the ball in his direction and, was able to make a play despite being almost held on that play. So, again, I think that just speaks to the preparation that Tyler Scott has been doing in the film work, in training camp, and it's translating to results on the football field.
I know you moved over in the locker room to Velus, Nick. I'm assuming there was a big smile on his face after tonight.
Yeah, and I mean, look, he didn't know too, you guys, like how the plan was going to go for the running backs because you had guys that were, obviously in and out who weren't playing, they were rotating, but didn't know the plan. But overall, he was asked straight up, "How do you think you did?" He said, "I think I did pretty good." And then I specifically asked him on like those toss plays because those are the plays where he was able to get some big gains in this game. And he said, "When God gave you speed, you can use it to your advantage." And that's what he's like, hey, teams like to overplay this. I know I can cut back inside. And he mentioned, Chad Morton being a guy that's kind of coached them up on those things and taking the proper angles. And he's also, talked to DeAndre Swift, talked to Khalil Herbert and taking stuff from their game and getting advice to, make him the best running back that he can be. And he knows he still has a long way from it, but he was proud of himself and the performance that he put out there on Thursday night.
Yeah, so obviously Reddy Steward certainly caught some people, by surprise tonight. Obviously caught the Kansas City Chiefs quarterbacks by surprise with 2 interceptions and a pick 6. Did you get a chance to talk with him? Because, as we were talking about earlier, this is a loaded defensive backs room, a lot of veterans in there, and when he had that interception on Caleb Williams in practice earlier in training camp, you could really see how the other players in that room respect Reddy because of how excited they were for him making plays 3.5 weeks ago. And now here he is making plays on the big stage.
Yeah, so I asked him about that first interception, and he just mentioned, it was on the goal line. He saw the quarterback eyeing the number 2 right there, and he just reacted. And that was really all that happened on that one. And then, even on the pick 6, like he credited Adrian Colbert for coming off the edge and, applying pressure on the quarterback on that one, but he said the quarterback threw it a little short. He was, again, eyeing down the receiver, and he said to his teammates after that first interception, if he got another one, he wasn't going to get tripped up. Reddy Steward, true to his word, did not get tripped up, was able to take it back for a score. And I asked him, like, how does this feel knowing that you went out here Thursday night game in Kansas City, had the performance that you did? And he said it felt surreal. He was just out there playing, but still at this moment didn't even know if it felt real then. And like for a guy that's obviously undrafted trying to make the team, like, and he also mentioned like this is a new position for him. Nickel corner is not what he's used to. So to do that and, show like those big time plays at the goal line, at the pick 6, like I think that's again, shows the credit to the coaching staff for developing him and then also putting him in position just to make plays.
All right, let's talk about the defensive end situation because If you're just going to go off results alone, I don't think there's anyone in the world that would try to claim that Dominique Robinson had a better preseason than Daniel Hardy. Now, that's not always what goes into these decisions, but I know you talked to Daniel after the game, and he looked impressive once again tonight. What did Daniel Hardy have to say in the locker room?
Yeah, just ask him with this preseason that he's put together. Like, how does he overall just feel about this performance? And when he thanked God for all the film that he was able to actually put out there, but he thinks he put a good foot forward and trying to make this team, knows that he can always improve. But, one of the things I asked him about, because there was a play where one of the Chiefs quarterbacks was running towards the left sideline, and then out of nowhere, Daniel Hardy's chasing him down, like from the backside, and like able to push him out of bounds. And I just asked him, like, where's that motor come from? And he said he attributes it because he's the youngest of 5 older brothers. And he's like always just trying to keep up with the big dog. So, and he also credited coaching, had really good coaching. Like, you can't teach effort. That's just something that you just gotta, with each level, get accustomed to. So, like, that was a play that really stood out to me. And, I did ask him, with cut day approaching, just how do you think about this? Like, knowing the preseason that you put out there, what's kind of his mindset? And he was like, just leave it in God's hands. I don't really think about it. He's going to enjoy this next day off. And, he ended it by saying, like, hopefully I become a Chicago Bear. If not, then, he kind of goes on with, the journey here. But I think that's obviously that's going to be a realistic scenario that a lot of these players are going to be dealing with in the next coming days.
I just want to make one quick point on that. Let's not forget that Daniel Hardy has been here developing too. So yes, Dominique Robinson was a draft pick. Yes, it's been a project, but it's not like Daniel Hardy was somebody that's just like brand new for camp. I think they're invested in his development too. So I think he was brought in by this regime. He's not somebody like Travis Gibson that was, from a previous regime. Wasn't just a free agent signing in the offseason, just trying to fill out the 90-man. This is somebody that's on the practice squad that they've been working with. So I do think that there's some investment there too that will be applied to the decision made.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously, like, we didn't see a lot of Daniel Hardy, but we're definitely seeing him in this preseason, what he can do. And he is a little bit undersized, but if you have that motor and you're buying into what this coaching staff is preaching, you'd see the development in it, and just how he's, again, showing that each and every single game. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting decision, but I was like keeping track, like probably you guys were, like Dominique Robinson and Austin Booker's day. They were done, I think, in the third quarter, and Daniel Hardy's still out there till the very last reps in the fourth. So you're kind of looking at maybe where this coaching staff even thinks of these guys. Well, Dominique was done way before Daniel was, and I think he finished out the game. So,
Nick, putting you on the spot, you think Hardy's on the team? You think Reddy Steward's on the team?
Probably both no. And I think earlier I wrote an article thinking that maybe Hardy would make it. And again, he had another good performance, but I think ultimately there's too many DBs on this roster for a guy like Reddy Steward to make the 53. Maybe he's a practice squad guy, and then for Hardy, like, even though there's a need for that position, I still think that, Dominique Robinson will probably end up, still making this roster. But I would say no to both those guys right now.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Nick, any other final thoughts from the locker room? Anything else that we have missed?
Yeah, I did get a chance to actually talk to DeAndre Carter about that, about the punt and just kind of what happened there. He said whenever it goes around the 8-yard line, most times, like, you're going to want to get away from it. But for him, he just wanted to block the closest guy that could make a play on the ball. And honestly, he was just saying, like, the ball just took a weird bounce. And I asked him too, like, I think it was one of the safeties was close to him. Like, does anybody tell you anything if there's a situation like that? Does anybody communicate with you? And he was straight up. He's like, nah, I just have to, it just took a bad bounce and he just needs to get out of there, is what he said. So I asked him, like, what's the teaching point? What are you going to do moving forward if you're in that situation? Just get out of there quicker is what he ultimately came down to when trying to approach that type of punt again. So, but again, he's like, it's tough. And you got to make that split-second decision. Do I block the guy that's closest to making a play on the ball, or do I just get out of there? And he mentioned it's a tough spot to be in, but ultimately it came down to him. He said, just get out of there quicker for the next time.
Well, I just had one more question I had to pop back in for Nick, and I'm really concerned about the DNPs for tonight, and that's the did not participate in traveling and covering the Bears. So I need you to start listing off everyone that didn't make the trip to Kansas City to cover the Chicago Bears within this Chicago sports media, and flex your muscles a little bit about the dedication that you had to get on a damn plane and cover these Chicago Bears.
I mean, that list will go on and on, Greg. I mean, we can be here all night. I don't want to do that now.
Who was there?
So we had Patrick Finley, Jason Leisure, Colin Kane, Brad Biggs, Luke Nellis, and I think that's it. And me.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not forgetting anybody.
Colin
that was it.
You said Colin Kane, right?
Yeah.
So that was it. Like, we had the whole locker room to ourselves, but like, guys are actually getting out there pretty quickly. I got Khalid Kareem. See his jacket you guys are wearing?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yo, where'd you get that jacket? I'm like, this is Built Basics. Your teammate Cole Kmet is sponsored by him. Don't you know? He's like, oh yeah. It's like, that's a pretty sweet jacket. And I'm like, thanks. Also got to see now I'm blanking on names. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. Just walked by like Super Bowl champions.
So let me get this straight. Courtney Cronin was not there.
I'm going to defend Courtney. You know what Courtney was doing today? Hosting Around the Horn.
Yeah, she was flex. She was flex. She's national.
She was literally on TV when we were here. I'm like, oh, yeah, there's Courtney.
Whatever. You know, her skyrocketing this is nauseating.
This is your opportunity to call out Adam Johns and Kevin Fishbane right here, right now.
Was Leventhal there?
And no. Jesus. And Johnsy and Fishbane went rogue. I didn't even know until like 30 minutes before they did that little live stream tonight that was even happening.
Yeah. They go live in they went live in the third quarter, and Hogue was tweeting about it. I was like, oh, Carm's gonna be furious that we're not going live right now in the middle of the third quarter.
No, that was all them. I think it was a great idea, and also I'm guessing that it was 90% based on that they want their entire Friday off and didn't want to have to do a podcast tomorrow morning because I'm gonna be at the golf outing.
What time's that start? What time's everyone going to be?
I think tea time's like 6 a.m. 3 hours.
Damn it. Okay, won't be there with that.
No, it's a 9 a.m. shotgun start.
Yeah, definitely not making it. Okay.
Yeah, I'm picking up one of my teammates at 7:51 at the Westmont Metro. Thank you very much, because
thank you for that information, Carm.
Yes,
it's important.
Great story, Carm.
Yeah.
Well, Greg, we'll miss you tomorrow because Greg's having knee surgery, and I'll just tell your news because you know.
Yes, I am.
So
what are you drinking there, Greg? What's in the cup?
This is doctor's orders. I got to drink this, a couple cups of it, couple bottles of it for electrolytes, and then I'm not allowed to drink anything else. So I have to have this glass done in the next 5 minutes because they said before midnight. So that's why I took myself off screen.
Another doctor is also prescribing that he has to drink something every day for the 12 Dr. Peppers that he drinks every day.
It's true.
Yeah. All right. Nick, great job out there.
Appreciate it, you guys. Appreciate it.
See you, but
I wish I would have asked, too, real quickly. I mean, we saw a bunch of, the carts coming out tonight. That's the one thing you definitely don't want to see last preseason game. So, I don't know if Eberflus even touched on that in the presser.
He did.
There. He did.
He did. He said he was moving his extremities, and, hopefully things are looking as positive as they can look.
Jeez, yeah. Scary scene. I mean, seeing the cart, I don't think I've ever seen the cart or different versions of a cart come out that many times like I did in this preseason game, but that's the reality of football.
All right, Nick, travel home safely. We'll be looking for all your coverage on allchgo.com. Also our social channels at CHGO_Bears. And make sure you're following him as well at Nicholas Moreano. Thanks, Nick.
All right, you guys. See ya.
We all silly like the mayor.